All right. So we're gonna be doing a headlight restore on the headlights of this here Equinox. We're gonna be using the Mother's kit. I've used it before in the past. It's done pretty good. I have no complaints with it. Seems to hold up over time too. It's going to come with a drill truck, drill chuck attachment. It's kind of got a little bit of a rubber piece to it with Velcro. Um, First things first, you're going to start off with a 800 grit pad, and this is going to be wet sanding. So we're going to need some water, drill, everything that comes in the kit, and a couple paper towels, because we'll be needing to wipe the headlight off and get it clean as we go. You can use a spray bottle or whatever. I'm just going to be using this unicorn watering can here. Just get the headlights nice and wet so that way I can wet sand and we'll see the results at the end. So we're gonna start 800 grit, some water. We're gonna have the drill on the low speed setting. Then we're just gonna go ahead and wet the headlight. No real way to do that. We just want to make sure that you do it liberally. I like to start top to bottom. We're going to go low speed. We're going to overlap maybe about 50% on each path. Just like this. Now, if you're worried about scratching the paint, you can always come through and tape off. The paint on this car is not very good, so I'm not all that concerned with it. You could scratch it up a little bit in the process, but it's a very high grit. So you probably won't notice if you do accidentally touch the paint with it. But don't be too worried about it. You don't have tape on hand. You can see all this gross stuff. That's just all the oxidation and stuff that's put onto the headlights for years. You try to get into those corners if you can. Now, the instructions are going to tell you just go back and forth all the way down it, and then you're going to basically call it a day. Anytime that you are buffing or sanding or doing anything like that, especially on car, anything that you need to be smooth, you need to go both directions. So we went left to right. So now we're going to go up and down across the bike. And that'll get us a nice smooth surface. I'm just going to repeat exactly what we did before. Just make sure that we don't have any striping and we hit everything helps you be a little bit more consistent and get a little bit better results out of it. And make sure you're trying to keep the disc as flat as you can with the headlight. Of course, more curvature is going to make it harder, but it'll be all right as long as you actually get it all. Okay. So that's basically step one done. We're going to go ahead and take our water and a nice clean towel. I like to use these shop towels just because they're soft and whatnot. And we should see a nice, consistent, even haze across the entire headlight if we have done this step correctly. So, as you can see, the whole thing is all one consistent haze. Um, it's not spotty or blotchy or anything like that. It's just kind of all dull. Now, one part is more dull than the other, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So, you could go again if you see some spots that are maybe a little bit shinier or whatnot that you should touch up. That's what you'd be looking for, is just some spots on here that are more shiny than others. Um, I see a couple, so we're just gonna do a quick run through on those. Um, I'm gonna rinse off my pad a little bit here, and we'll go again, just quickly cover those areas. Okay. So that should do it there. And go ahead and wipe it back down. I can still see maybe one little spot over here. And go ahead and go back through that. And that's just because this is on a curve. It's going to be a little bit harder to get. So we might need to give a little bit more attention. It's fine. But this is kind of the step that we do want to be a little bit more meticulous with. You just want to make sure that you get everything because you can't really go back from here. So you're going to be stepping up in grits. Uh, so if there's anything that you didn't get with the 800, um, it's just not going to come out as nicely. And you can rub your hands across the headlight if you feel spots that kind of feel gritty or rough. Just go ahead and run over them real quick. Um, and that'll help make sure you get the best results that you can. Yeah. So you'll have a bunch of pitting, and that's just from bugs and whatnot. They're a little bit acidic. Some of their guts will splat on there and eat through the plastic, which is no good. But you want to go through and anything feels rough or whatnot, you'll have pitting, you'll have some rock chip kind of stuff in there. You just want to go ahead and take care of it with that 800 grit. So as you can see, 800 grit is definitely nice and worn out, clogged up. So we'll be moving on to the next step from there, which is going to be 1500 grit. Um, as you can see here, it says it on the back. And we're going to do the same thing where we just take the drill and we're going to try to center this up on the pad best we can. It's Velcro. Let's see, I messed it up a little bit. Something like that. And it's going to be the same thing over again. So we're going to go ahead and get some water um, and wet the headlight back down again and rinse and repeat, basically. Um, and then after that, we will be getting on to the offing. Again, soak the headlight. This is wet sanding, so we want a wet headlight. Just put a nice layer on it. And I'm sure you can see after I wet it down, it looks a little bit clearer. It's going to look a lot better than even that. Time that we cut. So again, so start up here, low speed. And we're going to be going back and forth. Keeping like a 50% overlap. Go ahead and wet back down some more. Spray bottle would make this a lot easier. I just don't have one handy. If you feel the pad skipping around, you probably have it at a bit of an angle. Um, so just keep it conscious and try to keep the pad as flat to the headlight as you can. Um, so there we got left and right. Fill my can back up. Just get some more water real quick. Okay. And like I said, I won't tell you in the instructions, but it's always good. If you're gonna go left and right, go ahead, go up and down too. All right, we've got all that done. I'm sure you can see it looks a lot clearer already. Um, you can go over it a third time if you want. Uh, it's not going to be as necessary as it was with the 800 grit. So we're going to go ahead and rinse that off. Grab a new towel. Um, as you go up in grits, that's really important. Make sure you're keeping a nice clean towel to wipe it down with. That's why these shop towels are pretty great for it. Uh, so again, nice even haze, what we're looking for. I am going to go ahead and go over it one more time. Just make sure it comes out nice. Getting nice and wet headlight, what we want here. You gotta spray it back down, pour some more water on it halfway through. It's fine. Ain't gonna hurt anything. Keep it wet. We want that pad That had to be lubricated. Just pull out it from the headlight as much as possible. Again, right, low speed, nice and smooth. Keep the grill flat. All right. So a nice power stance, getting nice and low isn't necessary, but it definitely does help. You know, being nice and comfy, so that way you can stay consistent. Isn't a bad thing. Sure, you can see as we add more water, just how much better that headlight's looking already. Now, after we're done with that 1500 grit, we do want to make sure that we dry the headlight off thoroughly. I don't want any of this water on here or any of the residue from us sanding uh, whenever we go to buff and polish this. So we're going to be making the jump from 1500 grit up to, I believe, 3000. Yes. Um, so that being said, there is one pad is notably thicker than the other ones. It will say 3000 on the back. So again, we're just gonna peel off our 1500 and then do the same thing. Center it up on the pad best you can, just like that. And we're going to be working with the 3000 next. Again, we want to be making sure that we wipe the headlight down. It is dry and not wet, um, because this is kind of the final step before polishing. That being said, um, we're going to be moving up speeds a little bit here. So instead of a couple hundred RPM, we're going to be looking at closer to maybe 1500 RPM. Again, make sure everything's nice and dry, and it's going to be the same pattern: left, right, up, down, left, right. And then we'll give her another wipe down after that. You do want to be adding a little bit of pressure here with this one. Okay, we've done our left to right and see how much clearer it is already. Do our up down next. And again, we are going to be adding pressure with this 3000 grit. Okay, so that's pretty much all we need with the 3000. Um, Again, we're going to go ahead and just give it a quick wipe down. This can be with a dry towel. We don't want to wet this down again, but we do just want to get any of that dust off there before we go to polish. So a light wipe down is fine. Uh, Now we are going to be taking the pad that came, this 3000 off. Set that aside because you will need that for the other headlight. And then we'll be sticking on this big foam ball. Okay. And then you're going to have a buffing compound essentially. This probably has a little bit of a layer to coat it and protect it from UV rays and stuff like that later so it doesn't oxidize again, I'm sure. So just go ahead and shake it up. And then, not sure if this is sealed or not, we'll see. We're just going to be adding, yeah, it says sealed. About a nickel size-wise of this buffing compound or polishing compound, I suppose. So about a nickel, quarter, what have you. Um, and I'm not sure if the instructions are going to tell you to dot it across the headlight or not. Um, it doesn't. Um, so they just want you to go ahead and go straight to it. So again, same thing as before. Start slow. I'm just gonna go along a little bit of an area here, and you can speed it up. Okay. That's just one small spot. I'm not sure if you can tell the difference of how much clearer it's going to get as we do some polishing. Um, and then, yeah, so we'll keep going, adding some more material for the compound on there. And after we do it in 2, 3 spots or whatnot, we will go ahead and wipe it down. Again, we're gonna start off kind of slow. Just spread it around. And then we can speed up. Cool. Just like that. All the way around the headlight. We have 2 spots right next to each other. It's a lot clearer. Um, so what you'd want to do is use a nice microfiber if you have one. I don't have a clean one, which is why I'm using these towels. And you're just gonna go across, and that's silky smooth. I mean, there's no resistance there, which is how you know you did a good job. Um, as you flip the microfiber or whatnot, there really shouldn't be any dirt on there. You should have sanded all that out. If you have a bunch of dirt on there, you didn't do a good job cleaning in between the steps. Um, see, I didn't put too much effort into it, and it turned out fine. So just make sure that you're wiping everything down in between, and flip the towel over as you move, and rinse your feet. Um, we'll go ahead and knock out the entire headlight again. Just doing a kind of a nickel's worth. Uh, probably about a quarter's worth, honestly. But again, start slow, spread it all out. And we're not wanting to do big sections like this at a time. Um, this section's really small, and I have a lot of that compound on here. Okay. Again, just gonna give a wipe down, get any of that excess compound off here. Uh, don't want to leave long, so we're just kind of buffing it off. And then we just have a couple more little small spots in the corners and bottom of the headlight. We'll go ahead and take care of those. Then starting slow, blend her out. and some more compound. Put a little bit too little on at that time. Okay, and again, go ahead and wipe that off. Nice clean towel. And you'll definitely be able to see where some of the spots that you've missed are. There'll be a little bit more haze. You can see there's a kind of a small spot of haze there. And then again, kind of a small spot in that corner where the light just won't bounce off of it as well. But you can go back over it again. Um, that haze is just the polishing step, the last step. So if you still see a little bit of that haze in, go ahead and add a little bit more of the compound, go back over that part of it, and you will be good to go. No big deal there. Okay. Again, nice clean towel here. And it's a lot cleaner now. So that's it. That's the entire step-by-step process um, on how to restore your headlights with the mother's kit. You can see where we finish and just how much cleaner and clearer that is. And then if we go over here, that's what we started with. So you can imagine those don't do super well at night. There's not a lot of light that gets transferred through them when they're that cloudy and gross, compared to basically brand new headlights. So ends up not just being a aesthetic thing where it looks better. It's also a safety thing. And you may think that you need to go upgrade your headlights, put new bulbs and LEDs and all of that fun jazz in there. But if your headlights look like mine before I started, odds are they probably just use a restore kit. And they'll be way better than that if you put new LEDs in there. So this is the kit that I used. There's a couple different ones. I think 3M has one. Not sure. I picked this one up at O'Reilly's. Again, this is one I've used a few times, and as you can see, it works wonders. Not a whole lot of time invested in it. Maybe an hour between both headlights if you want to knock it out, and this is the results that you get with a little bit of elbow grease. So, um, that being said, appreciate you watching, and get out there and clean them headlights.